before I go any further, I didn't know who Mr. Beast was until 3 or 4 months ago. I know I'm the middle-aged dad who doesn't spend hardly any time on YouTube. But Mr. Beast is an absolute juggernaut of a dude, and I like just about everything I hear about him. In fact, I like everything I hear about this guy. I want to interview him. I think he'd be a fabulous interview. So who is he? He's a YouTuber. His real name is Jimmy Donaldson. And his main YouTube channel has over 100 million subscribers. He has since branched off into burgers, all kinds of other products. He's wildly popular doing entertaining videos. Okay, and so his username is Mr. Beast. And so he was recently on a podcast, the Flagrant podcast, where he said to the host that he had received an offer of $1 billion for his content empire. He turned it down. And you know, they were kind of like, wow, this is pretty shocking. They were like, well, what would it take to get your attention? He said it would take at least $10 billion. But I will tell you that I'm just going to speak on his behalf, and I'd be fine with him. You know, if I were in person, I'd go, here's my thought on this. I know you said it would take at least $10 billion to get you to sell, but I don't think it's just the number. I think it's the number, and then it's where you are creatively at the time and how much creative control you would want to have if you sold it. Because let's make it very clear, folks. If Mr. Beast sells, he has to go with it. There ain't no money in it if he just sells it and then they try to recreate it. So you need to understand at this level, when a guy sells it, he's going to get a bunch of money, but now he's working for somebody, and this is a dude who's built a huge empire. He's making plenty of money. I got to tell you, I wouldn't be shocked if he turned down $100 billion. Because at that point, it's no longer the thing that he created. He's got plenty of money. So there you go. So this was the context. Now, in the interview that you're about to see, they started asking him about his work schedule, and he makes a very interesting comment about burnout that I want to comment on, because burnout is a huge issue in our country and, quite frankly, around the world. So here's a guy who's a YouTuber, totally in control of his own situation, has built it from the ground up, and there's a couple of things I want to pull out of his statement. But watch this. This is really interesting. Let's roll the clip.
For you to achieve your goals, you're going to have a lot of people, and then every once in a while process, and every once in a while infrastructure, and every once in a while planning.
Are you a perfectionist?
Well, of course. Yeah. I just like to make the greatest YouTube videos possible. And that's literally all I want. So yeah, I mean, if it's not the greatest video, I just won't upload it. And so after you scrap a few videos, everyone, just kind of starts to figure it out.
Does it scare you that you can't stop? Do you ever feel like I'm just throwing all these coals on the embers of the algorithm?
I like to use a better analogy. It's like a treadmill. We're on like 12, 12 speed, and I've been going at a couple of years. No, it doesn't scare me, but so I was telling him, the way I like to work is I like to go basically wake up, obsess over something, go to bed, wake up, obsess, go to bed, like every second of the day until I just have a mental breakdown, I burn out, and then I take a day off or maybe a day and a half off, and I like to go right back to it. So I don't work certain days. I just go as hard as I can, every ounce of my entire body, until I just crash. And somehow that's sustainable.
What time do you sleep?
Right now, usually around 3 a.m.
Wow. Yeah, and then you get up at
whenever Rohan or one of them knock on my door.
Okay, so I love that. But I am pro Mr. Beast, but he's 24, and I think he's making comments, and his words have tremendous impact. And if I could be his friend, I'd say, hey, in the future, I'd like you to consider saying what you just said in a very different way. But I would also be curious to know if he'd agree with me. Because here's what I would ask him. I would say, do you really think that you burn out on that schedule where you go hard? Maybe you go for 12 straight hours, you're putting a video together. Are you sincere in saying that you have a mental breakdown? Because I think, and again, I'm not criticizing him at all. I love this dude. But it bears... Well, here's why it's important. I don't think he's having a mental breakdown at all. I think he's exhausted. I don't think he's burned out at all. I think he's exhausted. And so he has a very different rhythm because he doesn't have to do 9 to 5. He's creating videos. So the ideas, the writing, the shooting, the editing, there's a lot that goes into that. And he's all in because he started it on his own. So here's a guy that as a creator, he is running on a very different schedule than most of us would ever even dream of having, because he can. So what I think you're seeing here is actually, he's not burned out. I just think he's exhausted. But I got great news for you. He's exhilarated because what he does is he goes and goes and goes and goes, and he gets it done, and he realizes, I got no more juice right now. I need a break. But his break is not, I'm going to go home and have dinner, help out with the homework of the kids, walk with my wife and the doodle, you know what I mean? Go to poker night, play golf. His is, I'm going to go so hard and fast, and then when I can't go any further, I'm going to shut it down, and I'm going to go to bed and sleep it off. And I might take a day, day and a half until I'm ready to go again. And he's created in a very organic way a rhythm that works for him. So the only reason I'm reacting to this is I don't want anybody to hear this to think the guy's burned out. He's not burned out, because burnout is actually characterized by 3 main things. And I don't think Mr. Beast is any of these. Here they are. 1, he is at a place of mental exhaustion. Yes, he is. Okay, he's at mental exhaustion, but he's not emotionally exhausted because he comes back again. He's tired, but he's not to the point where he's like, I cannot do this job anymore, because the dude just keeps coming back and putting out videos. So understand the difference. 2, there is a negative, cynical attitude that's present. Well, this dude's not negative and cynical. He's actually obsessed and committed. 3, and this is the real signs of what we would call burnout, the World Health Organization would tell you this, is a lack of productivity. And again, the guy's a machine. So by the categorical definition of burnout, and I know what he means, he just means, I'm fried, I need a break. Now, one other comment. He's 24. Is he single? Okay, he's single and no kids. All right. This is sustainable relationally for him now. He's also 24. I don't know that this is sustainable physically. He may be a freak. So I'm not a doctor. He may be a freak that can do this. But at some point, I would tell you that I think most doctors would agree that kind of schedule at some point starts to have some wear and tear on you. Okay. And then I would also tell you that, and the reason I shared the article that where he gave the quote about how much money it would take, he's in a place right now where this is his thing and he really is obsessed. And I will tell you, at some point, obsession can be worse for you than passion. Like passion, he's doing it. But obsession gets unhealthy. I'm slightly concerned that he's in the obsession territory now, and he might lose the passion because of it. We'll see.